Truancy, when you're ready.
Also,
You're going to have to raise your hand or something. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to hear you.
Are you all set? We're ready to go?
have we?
Good evening.
Are we?
I call this meeting order and ask you to rise for a moment of silence and the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bill, I can barely hear you. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay, I'll talk as loud as I can, Anthony. Can you hear me?
Yeah, barely, but
yeah, you're not very strong, but it's okay,
I can hear Shelley better than you.
because I'm on the phone.
Okay.
Roll call of attendance. Alexis, would you please call the roll?
Yes,
Here.
Here, but we can't hear you either. You both of you are very, very, very hard to hear.
Here.
Here?
Here.
Here. Thank you, Alexis. Next, we have, we have one individual who submitted, who would just make sure you mention their name and address for prior to giving the statement or previous.
Her name is Tracy. I've got an email address for her, but not a street address.
All right, just for all those viewing, if you're going to submit a letter, we need names, full names, and addresses, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Alexis.
Okay, this parent, whose name is Tracy, says, I wanted to place a concern for the school committee. I am a mother of a child who attends Agawam schools. I was wondering, while getting the best education for our children, which I believe is in the classroom, my concern right now is COVID, especially with the numbers rising since the Thanksgiving holiday. I'm a parent who wants the best for my child and wants my child to stay safe as well. Yes, continuing school is crucial. COVID is deadly as well. I have seen numerous incidents and deaths with COVID, including family and friends at this horrific time. My main concern is the start time listed as of right now. It states that we are starting back as of January 4th. I want everyone to remember that the incubation period for COVID ranges from 2 to 14 days when an individual actually notices symptoms. And it has been said that some people, not at all, see symptoms by the 7th day. Since a lot of people do not follow the proper guidelines for mask wearing when visiting families during the holidays, or just do not visit anyone, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day is still a big holiday for most to visit families. Given this information, I feel that the start date of January 4th for the school reopening should be relooked at. It is too soon. We should start between January 11th and January 18th to be more precautious. This would wean out the many school officials, teachers, administrators, parents, office personnel, and or students' parents who may have come down with a terrible virus who do not know. Please again rethink the decision of reopening at least around a week or two mark from January 1st. Please also be mindful of the asymptomatic adults and children. Most children have no symptoms at all and may pass it off to an adult. Thank you for reading that.
Thank you, Alexis. Next, we have highlights on education. And this evening, what we have is the Roberta Daring Middle School virtual chorus. And that can be, and that is under the direction of Mr. Daniel Rose. And that is viewed on the Agawam Public Schools YouTube page. I would strongly suggest you all take a look at that YouTube page on the Agawam Public Schools website after the meeting It's quite a performance. I think you're going to be very impressed with what they did virtually with the chorus. And of course has the holiday theme. Next, we have superintendent's notes. Superintendent Hoffman. I don't have to say interim anymore.
Thank you. Good evening. I have several items on which to report this evening. First, congratulations to the following music students who were selected for this year's Massachusetts Music Educators Association, Western District Chorus, and District Band. Michael Weiner, District Chorus, and an all-state recommendation. Duffy, District Band for flute. Adam Ward, District Band for clarinet. Christina Ferrara, District Band for alto saxophone and an all-state recommendation. Grace Payne, District Band for baritone saxophone and an all-state recommendation. Also, congratulations to the students and staff at Agawam High School for being recognized by the Special Olympics of Massachusetts as a 219-220 Unified Champion School. The school was honored for its commitment to fostering a socially inclusive school climate that emphasizes acceptance, respect, and human dignity for all students. In addition, congratulations to the staff at Granger School, which collected $450 during a dress down day to benefit the 8th annual Mayflower Challenge. Due to the pandemic, the customary collection of food items was not allowed this year. However, the staff wanted to continue the tradition of giving to this worthwhile program and conducting a dress down day for the annual charity. Next, the Granger School PBIS team has been working hard to make the holiday season sparkle and shine for K through 4 students by sponsoring 15 Days of Wishes. Students were asked to complete a Google form informing their teachers about a wish that they hold dear to their heart. The PBIS team sorted through the students' wishes, and those that they were able to grant were placed in a raffle box and randomly selected. Interim Principal Stephanie Gendron and lead teacher Stephanie Harris have been granting one wish each day in hope of spreading some holiday cheer among the Granger School community. A video of the live drawing has been posted on the Granger website for all to view. This PBIS initiative is a means of thanking students for working so hard during this very difficult school year. Just a reminder that Friday, December 18th, will be a full day of school for all students and staff. School will be closed for students from Monday, December 21st until Friday, January 1st. Staff will be participating in professional development activities on December 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. At this point, schools are scheduled to reopen on Monday, January 4th for hybrid learning. Just a reminder, our next DWST meeting, district-wide support team, will be taking place remotely on Friday, January 8th at 7:30 a.m. And last but not least, I want to wish the committee, staff, students, and viewing public a happy holiday season and a happy, healthy new year. That concludes my notes for this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoffman. Under unfinished business, is there a motion to approve SCR 20-20, approval of the Agawam High School Photography Club?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. O'Connor and Mrs. Reed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bonavita. Any questions or discussions? Seeing none, Alexis, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mrs. Rua,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Ms. Doobie,
Yes.
Mr. Bonavita,
Yes.
and Mayor Sipelli.
Yes.
7 yes, it passes.
Thank you. With a unanimous vote, you have approved the Agawam High School Photography Club. Next, is there a motion to approve SCR 20-21, approval of the 2021-2022 Agawam High School Program of Studies?
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Rua,
Second.
second by Mr. Minio. Questions or discussions? Seeing none, Alexis, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mrs. Rua,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Miss Doobie,
Yes.
Mr. Bonavita,
Yes.
and Mayor Sapelli.
Yes.
7 yes, it's unanimous.
Thank you. With a unanimous vote, you approve the 21-22 Agawam High School Program of Studies. Thank you. Next, under business meeting, is there a motion to approve the November 24th, 2020 regular meeting and executive session meetings, as well as the December 1st special meeting minutes?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Bonavita. Is there
Second.
a second? Second by Mrs. Reed. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, Alexis, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mrs. Rua,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Miss Doobie,
Yes.
Mr. Bonavita,
Yes.
and Mayor Sapelli.
Yes.
7 yes, it's unanimous.
Thank you. Next, we have calendar and correspondence. Mrs. Reed, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you're on.
Are you ready? So I have 2 letters here. They're both addressed to Dave Stratton at the Agawam High School, our athletics director. First one is from the Special Olympics. It says, Dear David, on behalf of Special Olympics, congratulations on reaching unified champion school status for the 1920 school year. Your school community has successfully accomplished this by implementing unified sports, inclusive youth leadership opportunities, and the whole school engagement. These rich opportunities are leading to meaningful change in creating a socially inclusive school that supports and engages all learners. In appreciation of your dedication and commitment to inclusion, enclosed, please find 2 customized posters to display proudly around the Agawam High School. And if you are starting the school year remote, it can be a great backdrop to your distance learning. Detailed instructions on our fall contest are included. Be creative. This is the most unusual environment, and have fun. Whether you are starting the school year in a hybrid fashion or remote, we know that your commitment to foster inclusion for all is still a significant priority. Thank you again for your commitment to Agawam High School. If you have any questions or need more information on the webinars, please contact Patty Daugherty, Special Olympics. Signed, Patty Daugherty, Special Vice President of School and Community Partnerships, Special Olympics, Marlborough, Mass. The next one is also addressed to Mr. Stratton. It's from the CHD Positive Life Changing. Dear Mr. Stratton, on October 28th, 2020, the girls varsity field hockey team under the direction of Coach Gomez gave up their afternoon to practice to volunteer at the Cancer House of Hope. The Cancer House of Hope is a nonprofit organization that relies solely on volunteers and donations to provide free access to therapies and services to those diagnosed with cancer. The girls performed a much-needed fall cleanup to the yards, the flower beds, and the pond. These girls should be praised for their teamwork and camaraderie. Can't even say it. They showed while performing the yard work. All wore masks. They worked together, were bubbly with enthusiasm, had fun, and were very respectful and took their task seriously. All of these characteristics are the result of the leadership of Coach Gomez and the Agawam Athletic Department expectations of their coaches. This is now the 2nd year in a row that the field hockey team has donated their time to the Cancer House of Hope. I believe it's very important to recognize the volunteer work that athletes perform. It is important to recognize that team sports go beyond winning and losing. Karen does a wonderful job creating a positive attitude and giving these girls the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those with cancer. Please know that the Agawam varsity field hockey team made a difference. Thank you, Agawam Athletics and Coach Gomez, for running such an exemplary field hockey program. Signed, Margaret Toomey, Program Director, Cancer House of Hope. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Reed. I will now read the warrants and entertain a motion to approve them as read. All of the warrants are signed. Warrant SW 21-37, warrants number 21-184, amount of warrant $9,496.26. Warrant SW 21-38, warrants number 21-185, amount of warrant $140,403.27. Warrant SW 21-39, warrant number 21-188, amount of warrant, $1,839.09. Warrant SW 21-40, warrant number 21-190, amount of warrant, $27,064.04. Warrant SW 21-41, warrant number 21-192, amount of warrant, $2,048.77. Warrant SW 21-42, warrant number 21-193, amount of warrant, $224,941.46. Warrant SW 21-43, warrant number 21-194, amount of warrant, $149,698.70. Warrant SW 21-44, warrant number 21-204, amount of warrant, $43,051.53. Warrant SW 21-45, warrant number 21-205, amount of warrant, $8,146.07. Warrant SW 21-46, warrant number 21-206, amount of warrant, $29,268.46. Is there a motion to approve the warrants as read?
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
by Ms. Doobie, seconded by Mrs. Reed. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, Alexis, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Reed,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mrs. Rua,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Ms. Doobie,
Yes.
Mr. Bonavita,
Yes.
and Mayor Sapelli.
Yes.
7 yes, it's unanimous.
Thank you. With 7 yes, 0 no, we've approved the warrants as read. Next, this evening, we have, I believe, is there warrant? Okay, we have Mr. Nettis's safety report that's going to be live here. Mr. Nettis is with us. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Nettis here and being in charge of our safety through our district. I believe he's been with us now. Is it 5 years, Mr. Nettis?
No, Mr. Mayor, it's 4 years.
4 years? Okay, 4 years. Mr. Nettis, you're on. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. We look forward to hearing your report.
It's my pleasure. I want to thank the committee, first of all, for all your support that's really necessary to conduct these types of programs that we're conducting. And they're very complex and complicated, as you know. So if we want to move forward, we need to work together as a team, and I feel a team effort. So I want to thank everyone. I also want to thank some of the administrators in particular who have been side by side with me doing these home visits that have been challenging, to say the least. Mike Donovan in particular, who's the vice principal at the junior high. Mike, I appreciate you like you wouldn't believe, pal. You were very supportive, and you've taken the lead in many cases. You developed practices and protocols with me, so I can't thank you enough. The other administrators are Karen Albano from Phelps School, Chad Joyle from the middle school, and Dominic Costanzi from Robinson Park. So thank you. I also want to thank some of the counselors. You're hard chargers. Stacy Wright, I hope you're listening, Stacy. I appreciate what you've done with us and for the district and the children and the families. Pam Gentile and Karen Cree, as well as Dawn Rule. Thank you all. I do want to mention real quick before we start getting into the three aspects of what I'm responsible for: safety, truancy, and residency. In the month of April alone, we've conducted 52 home visits, 52. The reason why these visits are very complex are because we don't really know what we're walking into 9 times out of 10. We've lost contact with the parents and the children for one reason or another. So we basically start with a wellness check. It's worked out for us. I've also spoke in great detail with a lot of other people around the district, in particular Marlene DeJesus. So we talk a lot about collecting data and developing a team for students and parents during this pandemic. When the pandemic is over with, my fear is we're going to have a lot more than dysthymia, which is a milder but pervasive depression or mental health condition. We're going to have some significant substance abuse issues. So we're looking to go ahead and put things in place for that as well. We call it the day after. So let's talk about safety a little bit. So in December, early December, we did 8 ALICE trainings in those particular schools, ECC up to the high school. Our ALICE instructors have been in place. I didn't have to do much. I just provided some of the information, some of the rudimentary information that we've been speaking about over the past 4 years, including new staff. New staff got the portals for ALICE, and they took the fundamental training. These are strategies on school violence, in particular an active shooter. So we're very happy about that. We're very happy to affect all. I want to say I sent out 627 portals. Thank you to all the ALICE instructors as well. I hope if you're logged on, I want to thank you personally as well. We also are doing, we're also doing a training called CALM. CALM is a careful approach with leverage for management. What it entails are de-escalation techniques that everybody can use. Big business, small business, schools, counselors, administrators. These de-escalation techniques the root is in law enforcement. As you know, I worked in corrections for a long time, maybe too long. And when you work in corrections, you are hired for a lot of things. You're hired for loyalty, integrity, honesty, dedication. But the top spot belongs to interpersonal communication skills, because when you go into a jail, you don't have weapons. The only weapon you have is your ability to communicate with people. Sometimes your mouth can get you into trouble, but 9 times out of 10, your mouth can get you out of trouble. So we believe that the strategies that are necessary to conduct business today in our schools, in our community, is rooted in the ability to communicate in an effective way. We always say what you mean what you say, and don't say it mean. That's always worked for me. So we're going to offer careful approach with leverage for management. Once again, we did one training early on in December. I believe it was December 2nd. We're doing 2 more trainings on December 21st, 8 to 9:30 and 9:45 to 11:15. I hope some of the members of the committee, if not all the members of the committee, could log on and actually get this. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised in the effectiveness if you go ahead and practice it as well. A couple more things I want to mention. I think it's really necessary when we start talking about residency, we talk about the scope of the investigations that we do for residency. So if I told you that I've investigated 27 instances of residency potential fraud, out of those 27, 18 didn't live in our district. An investigation could be anywhere from opening a folder to see if the proper documents were submitted originally, or to do a home visit, or to do a surveillance at that particular property. But I'm happy to say that we're starting to pull apart some of these investigations and finding that at the very least what's happening is people are moving around in the district and they're forgetting to submit a change of address and or change of contact information, emails and telephone numbers. So what we did was we employed our guy, Steve Wojcik, who helped us out a lot. Steve Wojcik has pinged a lot of the Chromebooks so we can at least get a general location of that particular person just to see if that person is in our district. And then we can start going through some of our practices to find out where they are. And if they're having IT issues, we can start working out those issues as well, which has worked out for us also. Some people may call it being annoying, but most people call it necessary and persistent. That has to happen. If we just go to the threshold of an investigation and we don't go further into it, then the district is going to be losing a lot of money, and we can't afford that. And I'm not going to let that happen as long as I hold this office. I do want to talk about truancy a little bit now. With the truancy, I've seen a lot of persistent and chronic truancy in some of our students. One of our students has an excess of 40 unexcused absences. And in my opinion, that's a lot. So one of the reasons why I met with Marlene is because once we make contact with these parents or students, very important, we're not entering a lot of homes. However, we've from time to time had to. Just the other day, we were in a home. I was in a home with Pam Gentile, and you can see these parents really struggling. It was a single. It was a parent who worked the 4 to 12 shift. Her husband was working days. She had 3 kids. I think all of them were under the age of 7 years old. That's a lot. That's a lot. So when we showed up at the door and we, hat in hand, we're here to help you. We're not here to hurt you. We just want to make sure that, you know how to get your child on. And the other things that were in our power are to offer them some consideration with the mental health issues that they're going through as well. And that's why it's very, very important that at least the counselor is present when we do these home visits, whether they're present in person or they can do it through Zoom. We have to make contact, and we have to affect that part of families, because without that, then once these vaccines start to take effect and the numbers start to go down, we want to succeed. We don't want to stay in one place. And the only way to make that happen is to start with the mental health piece, coupled with the substance abuse piece, and we need all the help we can get. So I just want everybody to know, the committee members and as well as everybody who's logged on, we're not going to slow down. We're just going to keep on going forward, and you could count on it. So I did mention dysthymia. Now, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a caseworker, but I do know about dysthymia. In Hamden County Sheriff's Department, we had a forensic unit, and I worked very closely with the counselors and the nurses and the doctors up there. So they do incredible work. And I know the counselors in our district are very well versed in dysthymia. So to recognize dysthymia and know the appropriate means to affect it, that's above my pay grade. I'm not authorized to do it, and that's why this is the team approach. It has to be a team approach in order to get these things underway. So I don't have much more to offer you, but I will answer any questions that you have. And I can't tell you how much I'm happy to hold this position, and hopefully that I'm living up to what the expectation was.
Thank you, Mr. Nettis. Anybody has a question? Mr.
I have a
Bonavita,
question.
we'll start with you. Mr. Bonavita.
Hi, Mr.
Okay,
Bonavita.
There's a little echo there. Okay, how are you doing?
Hi, very good.
First of all, that's good. Good to hear. It's more of a comment, and then I have a question afterwards. But first of all, I like to really laud you for and applaud you for doing the work you're doing through a pandemic. You're still touching all the bases. You're doing all the phases of your job, and in some ways, as you stated, your job has become more important with the situations that people are facing. And I congratulate you on working so hard, even during a pandemic, to address those issues. And the psychological issue you talked about, I think, is something real. I know in my business as an attorney, people, this is a very, very stressful, tough situation for anybody, no matter where you live. And it's very difficult for people. And anybody with mental health issues, Obviously, it's exacerbated, and they need help. And for you to even try to recognize it, even though I know you can't, you said it's above your pay grade to treat it, even to try to recognize it and deal with it, whether it be by wellness checks or having a counselor involved, I think is fantastic.
Thank you.
That you're doing that. And just the only question I had was, you mentioned how that one family you visited was having a tough time with the, I believe you didn't refer to it as remote, but I think you inferred it, with remote learning. Is that something that you've seen more than just one family having that type of situation, and maybe that's why people aren't or students aren't attending classes or remotes the way they should? Is that something you've seen, or is that just an isolated incident?
Well, thank you very much for your support, Mr. Bonavita. It means a lot to me. I'll tell you what I've seen. The majority of what I've seen are the parents are more stressed than the children are. The parents are, fear, and you know what fear turns into. It turns into anger, and it also can turn into depression as well. So this one particular family that we visited, it was pretty evident that, and I applaud the parent. She was trying to do 5 different things while she's concentrating on giving us the information that was necessary. So I think it's more important that we recognize those emotional challenges in the parents that we do the kids, because the parents are the leaders of the house. And, we've always said, as goes the captain, so goes the ship. If you don't have a steady leader, then you could just count on the rest of the crew or the rest of your clan to follow suit. So if I told you originally we did 52 visits in April, out of the 52, I can't imagine there weren't 45 that were struggling with a lot of other issues, financial problems, domestic violence issues. As a matter of fact, one family we visited, we went there 3 times. The first 2 times, just myself and Mr. Donovan. The third time we went with a counselor. And this poor woman got she had got a delivery from a package store on her doorstep while we're there. And I'm just like, you know what? We will be back. Stacy Wright did some fantastic work with the family prior to the pandemic. So she already had a relationship with them, both the parents and the children. There were 3 kids in the house. One was at the junior high. The other one was at Granger, I think. But I see that pretty consistently with the families having financial difficulties, domestic issues, whether they're single family or they're arguing with their spouse or their boyfriend, and a lot of them, their children as well. And the other one is, I can't imagine that we're not even scratching the surface, or our hands are over our eyes if we think that you don't have a lot of dual diagnosed parents out there as well with the mental illness as well as a substance abuse issue. So I believe the success of the kids are going to be through the success of the parents' ability to wrangle their emotions and put their best foot forward without worrying about, like, we can't help them with the financial things, and we can't help them with the domestic violence things, but we can certainly help with the other 2 that I mentioned, in mental health as well as the substance abuse. I hope I answered.
Thank you very much.
I hope I answered it for you, Mr. Bonavita.
Yeah, you did, and we really appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Reed,
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if you heard me. John, I just want to say that I'm very impressed with your dedication and your attitude in assisting all these kids and their parents. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there struggling at home, and we don't know that because some of them aren't even in school. And that's one reason why they need to be in school. The parents are stressed. They're trying to help their kids, and they're trying to raise their kids, and it's a tough thing. So I just want to say thank you, and that we're really very lucky to have you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Reed.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed. Other comments, questions? Mr. Minio?
John, I want to thank you for all the hats that you wear for us. And obviously, as everything changed, with COVID, it seems like your job changed a little bit as well, and you sort of adapted to that, sort of on the fly. The question that I did have for you is similar to Mr. Bonavides. Would you say truancy numbers have gone up because of this, or would you say that it's around the same as far as numbers?
If I were to have to guess, I don't have any data that would support that, but it absolutely went up. Absolutely. Okay. And if you consider, Mr. Minio, if you consider that, I believe the Commonwealth hasn't changed those numbers. It's still eight unexcused absences in the 6 month. I would argue that the tardies have gone through the roof, and that's another thing that we're going to have to look at. It's difficult to pull these things apart because, if they're IT issues, I don't think the parents know where to call. They're not going to call IT. So I think we were very clear as to who to call, but there seemed to be a little confusion in the beginning, but it's starting to pan out where if you have an IT issue and IT can't fix it, that's why I thank Karen Albano and her staff. We went to some homes, and Karen Albano had her IT person fix it right then and there. So we were able to eliminate whether they were giving us a line or they were really having some issues. So hopefully I answered your question as well, Mr. Minio.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's probably across the board. I know myself working from home, I've had issues. I know there was a water main break yesterday. I mean, there's things that happen. Google was out worldwide. So, those type of things obviously are going to, I think, play into effect when you're doing things remotely. But thank you for all your hard work, especially with the mental education side of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minio.
And I'll call on Ms. Doobie, then Ms. O'Connor, then Ms. Ruah. Ms. Doobie.
Right, Mr. Nettis, thank you very much again. I ditto what all of my colleagues have said. My question to you is, you said that we could access the ALICE training online as well.
Yes.
To me, that's something that interests me, and I was wondering if you would be able to provide that link, or are we going to get a link at some point?
I'd be happy to. If you go ahead and forward me your email address, I'll give you a portal.
I certainly will, sir. Thank you very much for everything you continue to do.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ms. O'Connor, then Ms. Ruah. Ms. O'Connor.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Nettis, for all that you do. I have a similar position than you do in another school district, and I can wholeheartedly empathize with you. The home visits, the wellness checks that we're doing, the increased truancy, you name it, it's out there, and the support for the parents is also huge, Mr. Nettis. So I want to thank you for that. It is a challenging, it's challenging out there in the community, working with the students and the parents. But I think, with that support that you're offering and bridging the counselors together and working with our social emotional learning director is really key to this, and working as a team. And you're absolutely right. It takes a village. I do this every day. This is what I do in another school district. And I empathize with you and the families that are struggling out there, and not alone with the families, whether it's domestic, increases substance abuse, anxiety. We're going into homes and we're seeing kids sleeping all day because that pattern, that progression from March on, it's been very difficult. Parents have to work. It's been a very challenging for our parents. So I get it. I live it. And I want to say thank you for all that you do, because it's challenging. Yes, our students need support. Yes, this is not the ideal world for school. Absolutely. Do we want our kids in school? Yes. The safety comes first, but also working with those families that have been affected with COVID as well. And seeing what's been going on with the families who've been affected with COVID. So thank you for what you do. I have a similar position than you do in another school district, and those wellness visits and those checks have been increasingly high every week. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your support. Thank you.
Mrs. Ruhle.
My questions, for the most part, were answered. Ms. Doobie asked the one that I had. Mr. Nettis, can you share that information maybe with the whole committee? So if any one of us wants to attend those trainings, we could pop in if you'll welcome us. And
I'd be happy to do it.
Thank you. And you know what I think of the role that you play in our district. I've been very outspoken over the years of the need for your position. I'm very grateful for you and all of the support team you're working with. A little curious as to the day after supports that you're starting to work on and put in place. So I don't know that you want to share that now, but a telephone call would be great. I'd really like to hear what you're preparing for. That sounds like a super important thing that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mrs. Hoffman.
I just want to thank Mr. Nettis too. I think that he and Marlene De Jesus have really partnered in their efforts to kind of come together with their two different roles and work together to really support families in need at this time. So thank you so much, John, for your continued collaboration, your continued hard work. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Mr. Nettis, we can't thank you enough for all that you do and have been doing for some time now. And you're one of a kind. We thank you and wish you and your family a happy and healthy holiday. Thank you very much.
God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Next, we have subcommittee updates. Is there any subcommittee that needs to make or wants to make an update? Mr. Bonavita, did I hear that? Any subcommittee updates? No? Thank you. Under new business, we have none. Next, we have any other items that may come before us. I'll start with Ms. O'Connor.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate the district chorus, all of the students who made district chorus, as well as I wish everybody happy holidays. Stay safe, and just stay safe and enjoy your holidays with your family. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Ruhle.
Thank you. I really look forward to watching the video of the performance from the band. Any bit of normalcy throughout all of this is really exciting. And I know I, for one, have missed the music more than I've missed. I mean, I miss everything, but I've really missed the music coming from the school. So thank you to Mr. Rose and to anyone else who's done that. Also wanted to, say, thank you is probably the word that means the most. Those tiny little words, thank you, right? The best gift that we could ever get. And the students of Mrs. Jedney's 302 sent thank yous to every one of us on the committee, and the students made gifts. I have to say, this cheered me up. It cheered me up more. It's sitting on my desk at my house, just sitting here so I can see that. And thank you, Mrs. Jedney and the students of 302 for that, because it just was wonderful. Mrs. Jedney, you always go over and above, and it's very appreciated by all of us. And lastly, just want to echo what Mrs. O'Connor said. Wish everyone a safe, a healthy being the key word, holiday season, and look forward to what has to be a better and brighter 2021.
Thank you. Mr. Minio.
I wanted to also thank Mrs. Jedney for the gift that we got. That was very thoughtful of the students at daring to do that for all of us. I'm going to echo what my colleagues said, wishing everybody happy holidays and a happy new year. Please stay safe and healthy throughout. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bonavita.
Yes, I'm back on again. I'm sorry I had a problem with my phone. I don't even want to tell you what happened. But the bottom line is I wish everyone a happy holiday, happy new year. I am looking forward to next year with the vaccine being rolled out. I am hoping that it's a much more positive year for all of us, for the students and parents especially, that we can get our kids back in school full-time eventually. And I know it's going to take some time to roll out the vaccine, but the future looks brighter than it did back a few months ago, that's for sure. And I hope we all can work together cohesively to try to achieve the proper goals for the students and the families. And again, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Reed?
So I too miss the music this time of year, as Mrs. Ruiz stated, that I missed the chorus playing live for us, but I'm definitely going to watch the video. I also want to thank Mrs. Jedney for the gift from all her students. It was very kind of them. I want to congratulate Mrs. Hoffman on her position. Now that I see you, I can personally congratulate you. Well deserved. And I'm looking forward to 2021 and getting our kids back to school. Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you. Ms. Doobie?
Hi, good evening. I'm actually going to ditto everybody and thank Mrs. Jedney and her class number 302 at the Deering School for their thoughtful holiday gift. Mine is also sitting right next to me. And I love penguins, so I was very lucky to get that one. So thank you very much. And I will display it proudly year after year. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and let's all hope the new year brings hope, happiness, and more importantly, health to all. And do the right thing. And we need to get these kids back into school. So we need you to all be diligent. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to thank Ms. Jedney. It's always exciting to wait and see what she's going to do. One year, I think she had roof lights that they painted and we could hang. Another year, it was fence posts that they painted and made Santa Clauses and different things. And I was excited to see what this year brought. So she is so thoughtful, so creative, so positive, and those kids are so excited when they know they're giving gifts out to the school committee. It really makes their day. So at these times when there's not a lot to look forward to, I think she brings a lot of light and brightness into these kids' lives. I really need to, it's the end of the year, so I'm going to thank so much all of our healthcare workers, grocery store employees, which really go unnoticed, and the job they're doing and the risks they're taking, it's phenomenal. Obviously, our fire and police, our teachers, unbelievable what they're trying to do, what they're accomplishing with all the balls they're keeping up in the air, juggling different things, whether it's all remote, some remote, hybrid, all in, some in. It's phenomenal, the pressure they're under, and they're rising to the occasion, and we greatly appreciate it, along with the paras, of course, the custodians and building maintenance, support staff, secretaries, nurses, cafeteria workers, crossing guards, bus drivers, bus monitors, and I may have missed somebody, but it's amazing, the school community, how they're all coming together, sucking it up, being as positive they can in situations that there's not a lot of positive and a lot of things that are going on lately. But as many of you said, we have the vaccine coming, we have a new year coming, and we've got to stay positive. Of course, our health department, our administrators, and certainly our superintendent, who was baptism by fire, as we've all indicated. Phenomenal, phenomenal job. And last but certainly not least, our parents. What they have been expected to do, they've already been a parent, continue to be parents, and now they're teachers, they're at home as doctors and nurses and the like, and they have just been phenomenal and very, very supportive. And we appreciate that. We appreciate their patience. Decisions that are made by school committees, by administrators, aren't always taken with all people. Everybody's got an opinion on things, but everybody's trying to be positive, trying to accept what's going on, and knowing everybody's working as hard as they can. So thank you so much. I wish everybody a happy, healthy new year. Be safe, be practical, use the common sense, keep the masks on, keep the distancing. Be very careful on the holidays with these large groups of people. We hear stories all the time about weddings and gatherings, and weeks later, what happened because of it. I know it's tough. I know we've been doing this for almost a year now in March. Please hang in there. There is light in the tunnel. We see it coming. Please do the right thing. Enjoy the holidays. Be safe. Thank you. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Bill, can I just say one thing that I forgot to thank the teacher for the gift that we received. I haven't been able to pick mine up yet. Wendy, I hope to stop by tomorrow, but I am very appreciative that they took the time to do that for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure Mrs. Jedney appreciates that. Thank you, Mr. Bonavia. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Minio, seconded by Ms. Ruar. All those in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes win it. We are now adjourned. Thank you. 7:52.